From the center of the universe, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, this is the SDM Show with your host, Rob Cairns. The SDM Show focuses on business, life, productivity, digital marketing, WordPress, and more. Sit back, relax, grab your favorite drink, and enjoy the show. Here is Rob.
Hey, everybody, Rob Cairns here. I'm the founder, CEO, and chief creator of Amazing Ideas with Stunning Digital Marketing. In today's podcast, I sit down with Disha Pegu, who is the community manager for the Atarim Agency Summit. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the conversation as Disha and I chat about the summit. This episode of the SDM Show is sponsored by Stunning Digital Marketing, the agency to handle all your WordPress website security needs. Go on over to stunningdigitalmarketing.com and find out how we can help you secure your website so you no longer have an issue with backups, being hacked, or your website being compromised. That's stunningdigitalmarketing.com. Hey everybody, Rob Cairns here. Today I'm here with Disha Pegu from the Atarim Summit, Web Agency Summit. How are you today, Disha?
I'm doing great, Rob. Thanks for having me here. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, and it's such a pleasure to have you. You've done a lot of hard work with the summit. So just for listeners, you're kind of the community manager for the summit, and you're also the one that all us speakers have to talk to sooner or later and help promote the summit. How did you get into community manager role and working with Adorama?
Well, that's a long story, but I'm going to keep it very short. So I have always been working in marketing in different roles, digital marketing, and while I'm doing digital marketing, I have always been with the community. My job has always been in the front end rather than in the back end. So even if we take social support or talking directly to the people that are reaching out to the company, I was always that person, So it's not like a customer support, but along the lines of social support. So I was already doing this for an agency before I joined Atarim. Then it was a pretty normal process where I was looking for another opportunity, and I saw this opportunity at Atarim. I applied and I got it.
That's really good, and you've done a lot of work for the summit. Tell us a little bit. The summit comes up at the end of the month. What's the format of the summit this year?
So the people who has attended the summit last years will know that the summit is where the speakers are mostly presenting it, and towards the end of their session, it's a Q&A round, right? So that's there. This year's is going to be the same. It's a mix of presentations and question and answer rounds, and it's a live summit. It's going to be a live one, and that's there. And you are also speaking, Rob.
I am. I'm actually doing a talk about how did you use podcasting to build your digital agency, and it's interesting when you mention it. I'm not doing a traditional talk.
That's what your format's quite it's very exciting. So
I'm actually doing more of what we would call a fireside chat or something like that to get the point across. So it should be fun, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And it starts on the 26th of April and it goes to the 29th of April. And where can people find out about the summit?
We have, if you go to any of the Atarim social platform, it's right there, and there are so many like known faces from around the WordPress community. If
Yep.
you follow their socials, you will definitely going to find them as either a speaker or a media partner.
Yeah.
I mean, we have them all.
Yeah, we have the both, and in my case, I'm actually both a speaker
Yeah,
and a media partner. So
yeah.
it's an exciting time. So what I thought we'd do today is highlight some of the speakers, and I think it's really important to realize that there's a whole pile of people that have gotten involved to make this summit happen, and not just from an organizational point of view, from a speaker point of view.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought we'd talk about some of the talks kind of on a high level. And we'll start with Bethany, and I'm going to have a tough time with this one, Shaban Lang, and she's going to talk about support and providing excellent support on the WordPress.org forums. And I personally so love this idea of a talk because a lot of people know I come from a customer support background in IT, actually. So and I think one of the things that people don't do really well is providing good support for customers and viewers and all kinds of stuff. What do you think about that?
For me, customer support in any forms has to come like from within you, like if you sit on your desk in the morning and you just say that, okay, today I'm going to support customer in a very robotic way, you're never going to do it right.
Yeah.
The replies, the answers are going to be very bland, and you have to, like, we all agree that even if it's just like words and text, like digital messages, we do get a feeling. We do understand what is the feeling that the person has from the other side of the platform where we're getting the replies.
Yeah,
So
so true, and
so true.
and it's so important. I mean, because we were kind of talking before we went to record that when you don't get answers in customer support, what do people then do? They go to places like Twitter and Facebook, and and then they're by the time they get there, they're not that happy, actually.
Yes, and when the customers are reaching out to Twitter and LinkedIn, that means it's not like fun, they are in a panic and they're just looking for people, like, is there someone to help me? Knock knock.
Yeah.
So yes, customer support is a skill which is, if I have to put in, it's it has two ends. Like, okay, customer support roles are very available for any kind of given company, but a good customer support person, which is very rare, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what brands have to realize, and a potential, WordPress.org, it's more plugin companies, theme companies, that kind of stuff. If people are reaching out to you and asking you for help, they actually really care about the product. People who don't care about companies in support, they just move on.
Right. Yes, they don't even care if you have if you get the answer or not, because they'll just switch to something else which has better people to reach out to. And Bethany's, I mean, I have seen her session submission, and she was like, she has written how much it's tricky to provide a support on a free product on a public forum. So it's like a huge responsibility. I mean, if you get frustrated, I swear your messaging will reflect that. And I have seen this, and it also happened to me, I'm not going to lie. Like, when I have an email, which is, and I'm like, it's like kind of end of the day and I'm tired and I'm writing the email, my email reflects my tiredness. I don't know how it is, but it really does.
Yeah, it does.
Yes.
So the second speaker we have that we're going to talk about is Winston Hughes, and she's the co-organizer of the WP, the WordPress New York City meetup, and she's going to talk about a topic I find really interesting, and that's how to flourish amidst friction. What do you think of that topic?
How to flourish amid friction. Yeah. I mean, when I see the title of this session, it takes me back to like two years back when there was this huge chaos with the pandemic, and we were all trying to flourish among hard time. I don't know how this title reflects that time, but that's where I see, yeah, I mean, the unique people will do unique things to combat unique times,
Yeah, it's true, and I think some of the best brands in the world
Mhm.
have actually built their brand in down times or friction times. I
Mhm.
mean, you take a brand like Amazon. Many people
Yeah.
don't know they actually built their brand and buying up property and real estate in the economic downtime of the 80s and the
Wow.
90s. So
Mhm.
they've built their brand that way, and many other companies have done the same thing. They
Mhm.
use friction or tough times in the world to do well, and that's really important.
Mhm. Yeah,
Um,
right. And Winstina's session is all about how a community can be created with people who do not share the same values, and when the end result is great because you have diversity. So
yeah.
it's so important. I mean, it's a great value, like a piece of idea to take it everywhere, in your life.
Yeah. And that kind of leads us into our third speaker talking a little
Mhm.
bit about diversity is Michelle
Mhm.
Frichette's talk.
Mhm.
She's the director of community engagement at Stellar WP. And most people in the WordPress space know Michelle or of
Yeah.
Michelle.
Mhm.
I consider Michelle a good friend. She's not far from here. She's from Rochester, New York, which is probably 6 or 7 hours from Toronto. And her talk is on diversity in our community is everybody's responsibility.
Mhm.
I
Right. Yes,
think,
that's so interesting. I'm really looking forward to her talk.
yeah, and I think we need to be really careful here.
Yeah.
Diversity is more than saying, and I don't want to come across as sounding racist or anything like that, but it's more than
Mhm.
saying let's grab a non-traditional white person and let them do a talk. That's
Mhm.
not, in my opinion, being diverse.
Mhm.
Being diverse to me is saying let's get some people involved and openly invite them to be involved and accept their views and being involved in making those views part of the final product.
Yeah. Yes. To add on this, like when I am given the responsibility, we also had this agenda, right, to make our summit as much diverse as
Mhm.
possible. So I get this. I ask myself this question, like, Disha, what do you mean by diversity in your
Yeah.
head? What if my diversity is not even diversity because I don't the group of people and communities that I know, what if they are like just like 1% of what is the whole range of diversity? So yeah, there is a task like where to open up this conversation so that most people can see us
Yep.
in a diverse world.
I would agree. And
Yeah,
and it's not, as I said, it's not just about seeing, it's
yeah,
about openly welcoming. And that to
exactly.
me is such a key that we need to openly get people, involved and
Mm,
welcomed in and things like that. And I think that's really important, more
yeah.
important. And I know Michelle and I have talked about this topic.
Hmm.
In similar, I had Michelle at one time on this podcast, and we talked a little bit in there about diversity. And I know Michelle's a big proponent of it, and she's such a great speaker. So
Hmm.
that should be almost one of those must watch talks.
Exactly
Um,
right.
and then let's move on to somebody I know really well as well, Kim Doyle. And
Hmm.
she's the founder of Fit to Hustle and co-founder of the Content Creators Planner. And she's going to talk about 3 steps to writing, promoting, and profiting with email.
Yeah.
And I love this because Kim is one of the leaders in the email marketing space. And, I've had many discussions with Kim over the years about, is email marketing dead? And I can tell you from my list, which is over 8,000 people, email marketing is far from dead.
I don't think it's that either, because email is the one kind of communication that lands directly into your inbox.
Yep.
And which, at least me, I mean, if something is landing on my inbox, I take it like seriously. Like I open it and see what is it about. And I think it's so powerful, and what content is in your email is so powerful. And I have subscribed to newsletters, where I look forward to their emails. I mean, I would literally know that this is the day, this is the time, and I look forward to those emails.
Yeah.
And of course, there is so much competition also in email marketing.
It's funny, too. Everybody thought with the pandemic, newsletters would die. And as somebody in that space, I would say the opposite has happened, because what are people doing? They order something from Amazon. They order something from a store. They order something from food. They're all jumping into their inbox to find out when it's going to be delivered, how, when, where. Yeah. So, so I think people are actually reading email more lately than less. And that's an interesting, discussion. I mean, I look at my own email open rates and my own rates. I'm not saying email open rate is the only metric, but they haven't hurt at all in the pandemic, absolutely at all. So I think, and knowing Kim, she's going to bring pure gold to this discussion. So, if you're interested in email marketing, I would certainly get in there and listen to this.
Yes, right. With her, like, she's very experienced. She's one of the person that I was recommended to follow to be good at what I'm doing.
Yep.
So yes, I definitely think this session is going to be so amazing. Email. I mean, we all want to start. I mean, at least I want at some point to have my own newsletters. And there is so much of research to be done before you start one, because I want to have that right balance, strike the balance between informative and something that is interesting, like I don't want to be like fully only bullet points with something, or something very essay type. I want to be like a perfect match, and that's so much work to be done before even getting into that idea.
It's true. Anybody who thinks writing an email newsletter is slap it and put it together, it just doesn't work well that way. Yeah. So having done one for a number of years, I can tell you for sure that doesn't work. So and then our next speaker is another person who's pretty familiar to the WordPress space, Hans Skilrud. He's a vice president of Termageddon. And his topic is one
so interesting,
called "How to Say No to Clients."
No, yeah, that is so interesting. I mean, it's not even like how to say no to clients. It's like how to say no in life. Yeah. Take that away from this session.
Yeah, there's a really good book out there called The Art of Saying No, and I think it's one of the must-reads. A couple of people in my circles will tell you over the years I've actually said no to clients to the point I haven't even renewed contracts at times because it's been that bad. And
oh my God.
Let me tell you, in the WordPress business, a lot of people go through what we call scope creep. So they write a contract, and then the client wants something that's not in the contract. And I always say, let's address what's in the contract first, and then we'll look at everything else later. And just so you know, if you want that other stuff done, there's an extra cost. And clients have a tendency to ignore their own contracts that they sign sometimes, to be honest with you. So I think that's a good idea. Learning how to say no. And it's not just about saying no, it's saying no gracefully and giving the client an alternative.
Yes, exactly. I think how to say no, it should not give out a message like how to say no and ruin the relationship. It's nothing like that. Like it should be like how to say no in a way that both parties are happy. There is an alternative. No one is at loss. You are not at loss, and the client is also not at loss. But still, there is like a no in place.
And then there's the times you just gotta all out say no.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I think it's so easy to just preach, like learn how to say no. But I think when you're dealing with clients who are paying for your bills, it's so difficult to say no to their demands. I think it's more difficult when you're just starting off. I mean, when you're once established, it's easier. You are into the business. You also have learned the skill to say no. But when you're just starting off, maybe you're a solo entrepreneur or you're just like in the starting level. I trust me, Rob. It's so difficult to say no, and I have been in that position myself.
Yeah, it's hard. And then the last speaker I kind of highlighted somebody I know really well, Adrian Toby, and he's the founder of Groundhog. I've had Adrian on my podcast, and for those who don't know, his father Paul was one of my mentors at one time in the digital marketing space.
Oh, wow!
Now, shout out to Adrian and Paul, and he's going to talk about 5 simple CRM strategies you can use to create instant results for clients. And I think one of the problems many small businesses don't do is they don't do things like follow up. They don't do things like reaching out. And a CRM, customer relationship manager, can really help them do that. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I liked what you said about the follow-up. Like, we don't put much emphasis on follow-ups. Also, in my life as a marketing professional, all my results have been there only after I did the follow-up. I send the emails, it's like bland, nothing. Then I send a reply. Then I said, do a follow-up. It's only then when I get a reply. So I am totally like for follow-ups. And yes, I mean, as like Vito has been saying many times in our meetings, like in our marketing meetings, it's not like customers don't want to do your clients and customers don't want to do your task or don't want to, or it's not like they're ignoring your request, but they just have a lot of other things to do. So you have to remind them. So I think that's how our relationship is built.
I would agree. People get busy, and I've had clients buy from my agency after I've been talking to them sometimes for a year, if you can believe that. So what people need to realize is a lot of clients don't buy right away. So you have to keep the follow up and you have to keep doing. And Adrian's really good at the CRM side of things. So I think he will kind of provide a lot. So I think if you're a small business having problems with CRM, Adrian is a must listen to talk. He's a good speaker and he's been around a while. And for such a young man, he's done amazing things. And that's really good. So.
His energy is really good. I have seen few of his talks, and he's really fun in his talks.
Yeah, I keep telling him he's got to send me one of those little stuffed groundhogs that he's got in the background. I want one soon. And he's actually not that far from me. He used to live
also in Canada, right?
Yeah, he used to live in Toronto. He now lives in Niagara Falls, Ontario, which is about it's about an hour and a half down the road. Yeah, he's pretty close to me. So yeah, and his dad's agency used to have an office in Midtown Toronto. And I can remember going in when Adrian was building Groundhog and him showing me little snippets along the way. So he's quite, he'll be a really good speaker on this one. So,
Yeah.
so if somebody says to you, Disha, I have a problem. The summit runs the 26th to the 29th. And I can't consume all 4 days of the summit, but I want to hear most of their speakers. Is there an option where they can get all the speakers' recordings, or is there no option to that?
Yeah, we do have an option. We have something called the All Access Pass, which people can purchase if they want to get the access for everything, all of the sessions from all of the speakers. So yes, we do have that option.
And the access pack, if I remember right, is $99 US. Is that correct, or am I off base on that one?
For the last year it was $197. For this year, I'm not sure. I have to cross check with my colleagues on the technical front.
Yeah.
On the technical and pricing front.
Yeah, I can't remember offhand what it is either. I should have known, but
yes, we do have that option.
You do have the option.
Yeah.
And the speakers, they run from the 26th to the 29th of April. All the times are Eastern times, so that's interesting because I'm in the Eastern time zone. So that means Disha's going to get no sleep because she's in the European time zone. That means the three co-hosts, one is Vito Peleg, one is Andrew, and the third, I forget who the third co-host
is. She's Stephanie.
It's Tiffany, yeah. And two of the three co-hosts are in the UK. I think all three are in the UK. So that's going to be a bit of a time zone issue, but they'll manage. What I would say is come visit the summit if you want to help your web agency grow. It's a great way to get some talks in and hear some varied opinions and network and meet some people, right?
Yeah. I mean, the list of speakers this year is so amazing. I'm literally, and it's my first summit. So apart from organizing it, I'm also looking forward to be a listener. So yeah, equally excited for both.
And the best way to see the summit is go to adarim.io/summit, correct?
Yes.
We'll take you there. And Disha, if anybody wants to reach out to you with any questions, how's the best way?
With me, I have my Facebook, Disha Atarim. So just reach me there. I'm really active on DMs and everything. And if not, you can, if someone is very active on Twitter, just send a DM on Twitter. And then the replies are from me. The Twitter replies are all from me. So yeah, that's how they can reach. And I also invite people to join the community. I think that's the best way.
Yeah.
The Atarim Facebook community.
The Atarim Facebook community. Come on out, enjoy the summit. And Disha, thanks a lot and have a great day.
Thank you so much, Rob. You too have a great day.
This episode of the SDM show was sponsored by Stunning Digital Marketing, the agency to handle all your WordPress website security needs. Go on over to stunningdigitalmarketing.com and find out how we can help you secure your website so you no longer have an issue with backups, being hacked, or your website being compromised. That's stunningdigitalmarketing.com. A very special thank you to Disha for joining me on this edition of the SDM show. Make sure you check out the Adorama Web Agency Summit. Thank you for listening to this edition of the SDM show. The SDM show is brought to you by Rob Cairns and Stunning Digital Marketing. For more information about Rob Cairns and Stunning Digital Marketing, go to stunningdigitalmarketing.info. From here, you can connect to us on social media, go to our website, and even go to the podcast to subscribe. This podcast is dedicated to my late father, Bruce Cairns. Dad, I miss you very much. Keep your feet on the ground. Keep reaching for the stars. Make your business succeed.